What's up guys, my name is Taylor Bell if you're new here, and welcome to my very first consulting video. Alright, so today we're going to go over what actually is management consulting, what are some projects that a management consultant might actually work on, why I chose to go into management consulting after graduating from college, and some indicators on how to know if this might actually be a good job option for you as well, if you're curious. I will also give you guys a quick life update on my big move to New York City, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so a little quick background on me if you're new here, so this makes more sense. I graduated from the Wharton School of Business undergrad at UPenn this past May. I made a video about it last week, or I guess it's almost 2 weeks ago now, but it's right here if you want to see it, and I'll link it in my description below as well. So in college, my specific majors or concentrations, as we like to call them, were business management and operations in Wharton, so I got 2 concentrations within Wharton, and then in the College of Arts and Sciences, I studied international businesses, so it was a dual degree program. I'm just telling you this because it might give some background into why I want to go into consulting afterwards, or just kind of where my interests are at, so yeah. So I will start my full-time job as a management consultant in New York City mid-April, so only like 5 weeks from now. So as my start date gets closer, I'm starting to kind of get my mind a little bit more geared towards working and towards consulting, so I figured now was a good time to kind of start my series on consulting, what it's like, how to get into it, how to apply for it, all that good stuff, because yeah, I'm about to start, so. All right, so let's jump in. What actually is management consulting? Well, by definition, management consulting is the practice of helping organizations improve their performance. So what a management consultant does, big picture, they work with the leadership of a company to help assess the problems or inefficiencies within that company, gather more information, and then help create and actually, in some cases, implement those solutions. So some firms are more heavy on the actual strategy side of things, coming up with the ideas and actual strategy, and then others are more heavy on the implementation side, so actually putting the ideas and strategy in place. And the firm that I'll be working at is more geared towards strategy. So a lot of the time consultants will actually fly to another city in the US, or I guess worldwide, but they'll fly to a different city and then stay there for 3 to 4 days out of the week in order to assess the company that they're looking at, and then they'll fly home to their base city where their home office is and stay there for the remainder of the week. So as a consultant, you really learn how to pack a suitcase very efficiently, which I think is a great skill. So that's what a management consultant does, big picture, and I'm actually glad that I'm making this video before I actually start working as one, because it'll be interesting to see how my day-to-day sort of differs from what the paper definition of a management consultant does, or what they do day-to-day according to the internet. Because realistically, I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time in PowerPoint, a lot of time in Excel, and of course during the pandemic I will not be traveling as much or at all, we'll see. So I'm excited to report back in a couple months and actually let you guys know what my day-to-day realistically looks like. And who knows, maybe I'll look back at this video and make some revisions. I'll keep you guys updated. Bet you didn't expect to see me here. I just realized that not once in this whole video did I kindly ask you guys to go ahead and tap the like button. And what kind of small YouTuber would I be if I didn't try to creatively insert myself here and ask you to do that, because it'd be really nice of you. Thank you very much. Now, back in. All right, so we talked about what a management consultant does on paper, and I'm looking forward to giving you guys a more realistic view maybe of what my personal experience is like a couple months into the job. But what are some examples of projects that a management consultant might work on? So some types of consulting projects could include strategic projects, performance improvement projects, turnaround projects, implementation projects, and M&A, mergers and acquisitions projects, among others, of course. These are just some common buckets that I kind of found when I was researching for my interviews. So I'll probably make a full video dedicated to the case interview process and how to apply for a consulting job and how to hopefully get one. But for a little sneak peek on what the interview process kind of looks like, you get these things called case interviews. And most of the ones that I had were definitely more geared towards strategic projects, which could be something like figuring out the best way for a company to enter a new market, or the best way for them to roll out a new line of products, that kind of thing. So stay tuned for a future video on the case interview process and how that really works. Okay, so why did I decide to actually go into consulting? So I know these reasons are going to sound a lot like reasons I would give in an interview, and there probably is some overlap there, but this actually is my thought process, so bear with me. So first, the way that consulting was kind of described to me by my older friends at Penn who ended up going into consulting, a lot of people look at it as an extra few years of learning. Obviously not learning in school like where you sit in a classroom, but a lot of hands-on learning in the sense that you're working with so many different companies and you're just gaining a lot of new experience across a lot of different industries. So this to me was actually a huge pro of consulting, because I didn't know exactly what industry I wanted to go into after graduating from college. Of course, I know the general industries and things that I'm interested in and verticals within consulting, and that's definitely more geared towards consumer goods and services, but I really didn't have one specific industry I wanted to go into or one specific company that I really wanted to work at. So hopefully what consulting will do for me is kind of open my eyes to this broad range of industries until I can kind of narrow down what sort of company or what sort of field I really want to go into. So the second main reason is that my mind does get a level of satisfaction from making things more efficient. That's not to say I'm an organization wizard or a clean freak or anything like that. In fact, I'm actually pretty okay with my room being kind of messy most of the time. But when I walk into a grocery store, for example, I do recognize, or at least I think about, how things could be more efficiently laid out. Or if I walk into an open house, because I like doing that kind of thing, I start thinking about how I can improve the layout, or at least how I think it could be improved. Obviously, those are subjective things, but you know what I mean. My mind is kind of geared towards making things more efficient. Not on a hyper level, like if you imagine German efficiency, but I do like efficiency, or I guess more accurately, I dislike inefficiency. So it's not just that I totally didn't know what I wanted to do yet, it's also that I like to think my mind is sort of suited for this job. And the third reason, and this is more of a cool byproduct rather than a full-on reason that I went into it, but it's that you gain a pretty great network by working a consulting job. Since you're working with so many different companies over the few years that you work as a consultant, you're meeting a lot of different people. And if you can leverage those connections that you make with the higher ups at those companies, that could potentially be a very useful resource to have. And not even just thinking about it from like a useful standpoint, it's also just, I don't know, very valuable to know a lot of different people in a lot of different industries for obvious reasons. Like in my Wharton video, I go over how the most valuable part about going to a school like that is 100%, well, not 100%, but mainly the network and the connections that you get, much more so than the actual knowledge that you learn in the classes that you take. Sort of the same thing here. The network is just, of course, very valuable is what I'm trying to say. Something that kind of shows this is the fact that it's not uncommon for consultants to actually get job offers from the company that they're consulting for. If the company kind of gets to know you and they think that you do good work and that you'd be a good fit, then they could potentially give you a job offer as well. And that could just be another cool opportunity, even if it's not one of the main reasons that you would go into consulting. So that's another reason. All right, so now some signs or just some ways that you might know that consulting might be a good job for you as well. Well, if the reasons that I already went over for myself, one, not knowing exactly what industry I wanted to go into after college, but wanting to get a wide range of experiences. Two, enjoying organization and just making things more efficient and making some cool connections along the way, well, then it might be a good job for you. Again, I'll know more in a few months when I've actually been on the job for a little bit, so I can further flesh this out. But these are some signs that if you might think like me, or if you're just not exactly sure what you want to do, but you do want to get experience in a wide range of industries, I don't know how many times I've said that now, then it could be a good job for you as well. But I will keep you guys updated on this, and maybe I'll have some more like telltale signs in the future. And finally, my life update, my big move to New York City update. So I was recently notified that my in-person start date, aka when I actually have to be in the office in New York, in person. That got pushed back until June at the earliest because of the pandemic. So I will still be starting my job mid-April, April 16th, I think it is. But I'm delaying my actual move to New York City and will be starting remotely. So look forward to a video very soon where I kind of work from homify my bedroom. I'm gonna build a desk and add some light fixtures and just make it a little more suitable for work. So stay tuned for that. That'll be my first like DIY video, so it should be fun. All right, guys, in the comments, let me know what your very first full-time job was. I asked you guys this over on Instagram as well a few days ago, and I really loved reading your responses. There was like a wide range of different jobs. I thought it was really interesting. So let me know in the comments what your first full-time job was. And I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about consulting. As always, any questions, comments, concerns, stuff like that, just leave them in the comments below. I will be answering, and thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye. What is up, guys? That was aggressive.